Let's see here. That works. We'll take this one off. Let's move this out the way. Well, it's good to be back here. I have not been to the University of Memphis in a number of years. I was last here when my Alpha brothers had me speak at one of the MLK events, and so I'm certainly glad to be back to see all of you. I did communicate earlier with my friend Mark Lamont Hill, who wishes he could have been here, had a family emergency, and so he had to stay back in Philadelphia. So I told him I'll hold it down. But y'all did better anyway, because he a Kappa. So, you know, I'm just saying, you know, he knows he belongs to a little youth group. Mark and I go way back, so we kid each other a whole lot, but he knows Alpha is his daddy, so it's all right. We always joking, so we'll have a good time. Again, good to see, what's that? That's the okay sign? What's that? That's the little okay sign? See, you can always count on Kappas and Omegas making a mistake. You never mess with the speaker when they have the microphone, because you will be publicly embarrassed. See, not a smart move. See, Sigmas, they just stay quiet. They ain't say nothing. But again, good to see everyone here. I want to talk about several different things. But first, let me say this here. I appreciate those who are supportive of what we're doing. The Black Star Network and Roland Martin Unfiltered. We launched the show 5 years ago. We've seen tremendous growth. We're up to 1.16 million subscribers on our YouTube channel. Our network is now on 4 different 24-hour streaming platforms. And so we've been able to build this. And the key thing here is that a lot of people said when I launched this that black folks don't watch news. They said, literally, I was talking to the folks at YouTube, and they said, hey, we just don't see how news targeting African Americans is going to actually work. And I said, well, let me show you how that gets done. We've been able to do that. Now we have 6 shows on the network, have grown tremendously, and look forward to going to the next level with it. Our YouTube channel, actually, 65% of the folks who subscribe are actually black men. And so there's this assumption also that younger brothers and younger sisters don't watch news, and we prove that to be wrong every single day. In fact, last night when I was out at dinner, I was leaving, and I got stopped several times on the streets of DC from a number of guys. And you know, one of the mistakes that we make is that we see someone, we prejudge, and we might think when we look at someone that might not be somebody who in our minds they may be paying attention. I remember being stopped. I was leaving the dentist's office, and this brother, he had some sagging pants, a white beater, and a pick in his head. And I was walking. He stopped. He said, "Ain't you the TV dude?" And I said, "Yep, that's me." He said, "Man, you got mad respect on the yard." Now, he was not talking about the yard at Howard or Memphis. He wasn't talking about Norfolk State. He wasn't talking about Morgan State. He had actually gotten out of prison. And I can't tell you the number of brothers who have actually stopped me who were in prison who said, "I got through prison watching your show." The things that I learned watching your show. I had the craziest incident. This was pretty wild, but it was at the MGM Casino, National Harbor. So I'm leaving this event, and this brother goes, "Yo, Roland Martin." I was like, "Hey, bro, how you doing?" He was like, "No, I fucks with you." Yo, this is like real loud, real public. I was like, why is he cussing so loud? He's like, "No, you don't understand. Ask my girl, ask my girl." And I was like, she's like, "Oh yeah, he loved your show." And he was like, "If anybody mess with you, I got you." I was like, "All right." He was like, "No, you think I'm joking." So he reaches down. I'm like, he is not about to pull out a gun. What is he about to do? My man pulls his shirt up And all I see is scar tissue from here all the way down to his navel. So clearly his chest had been cracked open, and he had surgery from gunshot wounds. And he points to his chest and said, "If anybody fucks with you, I got you." And I was like, "Noted." And then I left. And that has happened several different times. And it's always interesting, weird, but it's also gratifying when that happens, because what that tells you is that you're doing something that attracts them that otherwise, or other folks are not doing. Let me say that again. That means that you're doing something that is reaching them in a way that is connecting with them and that is actually life affirming. And one of the mistakes that I think many of us make is that we try to create a life for ourselves where we want to sort of orchestrate this thing, and we're focused on how much money can we make. We're focused on what more can we do. We're trying to figure all these things out. And I have young folk who come up to me all the time and they say, "Man, I want to do what you do." But then I ask them, "But do you want to do what I do?" Then they look at me like I'm crazy. And I say, what I mean by do you want to do what I do, are you willing to put in the work that actually leads to that? See, what they see, I always can tell when they come to me. When they say, "I want to do what you do," what they really are saying is, "I would love to be able to roll with the celebrities that you roll with. I would love to be able to stop where people are taking selfies in airports and all over the place. I would love to be able to where you get walked to the front of the line and it's the club, you ain't got to wait in line." See, I know what they're talking about, but then when I challenge them on, "But do you want to do what I do?" then that's when they get silent. Because for a lot of folk, we don't want to put the work in that's required in order for us to be great. See, like right now, there are a lot of you who are actually paying attention to what I'm saying. And there are about 8 who are scrolling on their phone right now. And I can guarantee you that they are scrolling on their phone right now and they ain't looking at somebody who actually who makes 7 figures, who owns their own company, and then who can pick the phone up and call anybody, who was sitting at a dinner with the Vice President of the United States last Wednesday. So if you know somebody who's done more than that in the past 7 days, keep scrolling on your phone. Otherwise, I suggest you put your phone down and pay attention. Now, why am I saying that? It's because a lot of times we don't know who's in the room and who someone in the room knows. 11th grade, I'm in high school. Political class, government class. It's career day. Now, we didn't know it was career day. So it's like they walk in, these speakers come into the room. It's about 30 students, nearly all black high school in Houston, Jack Yates High School, School of Communications. So one of the speakers was an Asian woman. She was a municipal judge. One of the other speakers was the former chairman of the Texas Republican Party, who owned an import and an export business. So we're sitting in the class and they're talking and folks are totally tuned out, not really paying attention. So then they get to the point where they have questions. So I'm sitting on the far side of the class. So I'm looking across the class. Nobody wants to ask any question. Nobody wants to do anything. All right, throw my hand up. So I started hitting the white dude with questions, who was the former chair of the Texas Republican Party. I'm hitting him with questions. And so I'm hitting him with like 4 or 5 questions. And I'm not hitting him with questions like, what do you do? How much money do you make? I'm literally hitting him with policy questions because at the time Ronald Reagan was president. Now I know he's sitting here going, who in the hell is this little black dude sitting over here asking me all these questions? This is not what I expected to be answering coming to this class. Now, when the class was over, the Coach Mumphrey, he was a teacher, he said, Roland, can you please walk them down to the next class? And I did. And so as we're walking down, he and I having conversation, and we're talking, he's asking about me and what I do. And then I ended up spending about 3 hours with him and the other speakers. He then calls my family that night and says, man, to my mom and dad, y'all really raised, great son. My dad was like, appreciate that, like, we know. So this is 1985. This is 1985. All of a sudden, let's fast forward. 1989, I'm at Texas A&M. And we're trying to go to the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in New York. Now we broke. Y'all, we ain't got no money. We trying to figure this thing out. We got no money. So I said, hey, why don't we sit here and send letters to 30 foundations in Texas? So we do that. We get 29 rejection letters. Then one day an envelope comes in, and again, we're down to the wire. We literally have no money. And so I open the envelope up, and in the letter it says, blah, blah, blah. Roland, glad to see that you still are in your pursuits in media. Enclosed is a $1,000 check from my family foundation. Good luck at the convention. And it's signed George Strait. Folks excited. Other black journalists excited. We can pay for our hotel rooms. We can pay for some of the travel. Now, you may be asking, well, who's George Strait? Well, George Strait, who signed that letter, is the same George Strait who showed up in my high school class in 1985. It's the same guy. Now, whenever I say that, people go, oh my God, that's awesome. He sent a $1,000 check. But that actually is not the thing to shout about. Because had I not asked any of those questions, I never would have been able to make an impression upon him, which means that he never would have had a conversation with me, which means that that would have never happened 4 years later. And in fact, go even further, had I not read the newspaper like my dad did, had I not watched the news, I then would not have been equipped to be able to ask those questions. And so me and my fellow students would not have been able to benefit from his donation if I had not done all those things before. Now you then might say, okay, I mean, that's great. No, let me help you understand. Nearly every job that I have had in my career has been a result of the relationships I established at that convention in 1989. When I go to TV One, well, that convention I ran for the National Student Representative of the Board of Directors. Jonathan Rogers was a board member when I became a board member at that convention. Years later, Jonathan Rogers becomes the founding CEO of TV One. That's who puts me on TV first. I can go on and on and on. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you may be sitting in this room as a high school, who's in high school? Raise your hand. Anybody? I met some young brothers earlier. College, who are freshmen, who are sophomores, juniors, seniors. Got it. You may be sitting in this room and you may be thinking that, you know what, I don't really have to worry about those things. I don't have to really worry about paying attention to those things down the road. When in fact, what you may not realize that you may be sitting in the midst of somebody, and I'm not talking about just me. It could be somebody working here. It could be a fellow student. You could be sitting in the midst of somebody who could do something 5 or 10 or 20 years later that could have a dramatic impact on your life. But if you are busy with your head on the table and your head in your phone, that means you're not paying attention to those around you. And that is the mistake that a lot of us make, in that we think what's happening right in front of us doesn't matter, without understanding that somebody is watching you at every single juncture. And you don't know how someone is making a judgment or determination about you based upon what you put out. Now, let me unpack that further. Just because you have a suit on does not mean you have made an impression. Just because you might be sitting here nodding your head does not mean that you have made an impression. There must be something else that you must do that will capture somebody's attention, and they will look at you and say, he is different, she is different. Okay, so some of y'all think I'm just joking. Okay, let me go ahead and do it. 1, his head is down. 2, he's laying back in his seat. 3, he's been on his phone this entire time. He has been taking notes. Now let me ask you this question. When I get done, which one do you think I will remember and likely gravitate to after this is over? The one likely taking notes. Now see, I know some of y'all sitting here going, okay, but I'm not really understanding how that makes a difference as a person of color, because it's about you actually making an impression. It's about you actually showing that you are interested, but it also means that you are choosing to be engaged. The mistake a lot of us make is that we have people who literally are going through this world leaving no footprints, leaving no fingerprints, and then when they die, the preacher is trying to figure out what to preach because they literally lived an irrelevant life. And the one thing I don't want anybody to ever do is have to think about and figure out what to say about me when I'm gone. But all of that started when I was sitting in your seat. All of that started when I was in high school. All of that started even before that because I was thinking and visualizing what type of life did I want to have then, and I was preparing myself for those things then, so when it was time, I was already in position. And what we have to understand, there's mostly brothers in here, but there are non-African Americans, there are sisters in here. We must understand that you are going to be in a situation where somebody is going to doubt you, someone is going to think that you really can't do something, but if you then show somebody based upon your willingness to ask a question, your willingness to challenge someone, your willingness to actually stand up, your willingness to show yourself and stand out even amongst other people who are also great, then you'll realize how your life can be changed. I'm telling you, I don't know where I would have ended up had we not gone to that convention. Now, I know I would be a journalist because I went to communications high school. But the road may have been totally different. The road may have looked completely different. But the thing is, I was prepared at that very moment for the opportunity and took advantage of it when it presented itself. Same thing happened again after I was on the board of directors. Texas A&M was playing Arkansas. Here we are in Kyle Field at the time holding about 80,000 students. And so before I left the house, I have a system, grab my wallet, grab my keys, But I happened to grab my business cards, which showed that I was on the national board. Now, that was just habit. It was always, be sure to always have your stuff with you, because there's nothing worse when you go somewhere and somebody you're like, I ain't got nothing with me. See, now you can text somebody, you got a QR code, you can do all of that. But it still is amazing to me how many people I meet who are unprepared when you actually meet somebody. So I'm sitting here, so I'm at the game. Now mind y'all, we just at the game. We just enjoying the game. So I'm in the stands, and all of a sudden I go, ain't that the brother from TV? James Brown, James J.B. Brown. If y'all see this NFL Today on CBS, James is the one who was the host of the NFL Today on CBS. Well, he was a sideline reporter for CBS at the time doing college football games. I recognized him, and I was like, I need to go meet that brother. Now, mind y'all, I'll explain again. I'm at the game, but in that very moment, when I see him, I didn't give a damn about the game. Because that was just a game. I wasn't getting paid for it. I was just there for the enjoyment. But my focus in that moment changed from the game to I need to go meet him. Now, what's the problem? I ain't got no credentials. I don't got field passes. I don't have anything. So now I got to figure out. I got to talk my way past all these people because I got to get to him. Now, I need you to understand, my focus was, I don't care who I'm about to encounter. I don't care who they are, what security guard. I got to figure out how to get to that brother before he leaves this stadium. So I went to the field. I was talking real fast, but I was talking to security guard. But here's the deal. I was talking with a level of confidence and seriousness and then had my cards, and then it caused her to go, okay, well, you can go ahead and go through. Now, let me stop right there. A lot of folk would have stopped themselves sitting in that stand because they would have said, I can't go down there. There's no way I'm going to be able to meet him. There's no way they are going to let me go by. There's no way. How many people do y'all know? Just raise your hands. How many people you've seen in your life, they have talked themselves out of a potential opportunity by saying no, no, no. Some of y'all, they actually might be in your family right now. You may have mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters who actually talked themselves out of something before they even gave it an attempt. That is one of the things that I have often seen for many African Americans. We talk ourselves out of something before we even make the attempt. I've always been of the opinion, I'm talking about my entire life, if I see something, I'm getting it. I'm not letting anybody talk my way out of it. See, I know y'all might be saying, well, okay, that was different because, you were on the board, you got your cards. No, because I'm going to go back to that convention in 1989. I remember sitting in there with a big old fashion show, all the top black models in the world. And we're in the New York Hilton, and we were sitting there, and I'm like, I'm going to go meet Iman. How many of y'all heard of Iman? She's world famous anchor. Now, all the sisters raised their hand. About two of y'all brothers. Y'all need to read. Okay. So I said, I'm going to go meet Iman. So Tangi was sitting there. She went to text. She's like, we can't go meet her. We can't get up there. I was like, I'm going up there. She's like, so I got up, went up, talked my way upstairs, talked my way through the next folk. So they gave us these posters, and I had several of the models sign it, came right back down, sat at the table, and put the poster on the table, and all she saw were all these signs. She says, how did you do it? I said, I got up. I need everyone here to understand that your opportunity in life begins first when you decide to get up. You cannot be afraid and sit there and say, they're not going to let me in. You have to be able to have a willingness to say, I need to meet that person. I need to get that person's information. I'm going to figure out, no matter what, to do so. See, then you might say, well, yeah, but if they might have security or whatever. I'm just going to give you one little trick. Typically, now I don't travel with people. I don't deal with people. So I don't like handlers. I roll by myself. But typically, somebody of importance travels with people. So one of the mistakes that most folk make is they're looking at someone like me, and what they're not looking at is the person who traveled with me. See, so what I did was, my eyes was always on the person who traveled with the important person. Because see, the important person typically don't know where to go next. They always got somebody with them who's telling him, or he or she, we're going here, we're going there. So what I would do is, I would survey the land. I was like a sniper or something. I was sitting there like, okay, I'll see that person, so wherever they move, I'm going. So what I would sometimes do, if the person was speaking, and that person is, let's say they're at that table, or they're standing over there, I would just slide up right next to them. They didn't even know I was standing there. And say, hey, how you doing? Oh, so all good to see. I just be talking to them. Now, the whole point is I'm trying to get to that person. But I can't get to that person unless I go through this person. And so now I'm sitting here connecting with them. And I can't tell you how many people I met by seeing the person, or I say the man with the man, or the woman with the woman. But here's the other thing that you also can't do. You can't blow off the man with the man as if they are not important. Because that's the person who could give you access to the man. Again, one of the mistakes that we make, I see it all the time with celebrities. They see the celebrity and they rush past the wife. That's stupid. I'll give you an example. When I need to reach Denzel Washington, I don't call Denzel. I call Pauletta. Who's Pauletta? Denzel's wife. Fred Gray, 94 years old, Dr. King's attorney, Rosa Parks' attorney. I wanted to interview Fred. This is 2 years ago. I leave a voice message. Fred tells me the story. I get requests from all around the country. People want to interview me. And when I played your message, my wife heard it. My wife said, is that Roland Martin? He said, yes. She said, oh, you doing that interview? And she was there. She said, oh, no. He get a lot of requests, but when you call, he said, so when my wife told me I was doing this interview because it's you, that's why I'm here. The point is, if you are trying to build something and get to someone to achieve something, you cannot have any doubt or fear in getting to them, because you never know if you will be in the room with them again. And I've seen too many young brothers and young sisters stand back, scared, timid, don't want to walk up to somebody. That's why when the young brothers, who the brothers, the young kid, the young boys, the alphas had here? What is it called? Golden Sea. That's why when they asked me to take a photo and I walked in and 4 of the 5 shook my hand, and they were looking down, looking up, and I said, look me in the eye. What is your name? Because I need them to be trained now not to be scared to talk to somebody. And that is one of the things that I see for so many of us, is that we are unwilling to have a level of confidence in who we are to achieve something. Now, this is really a true story. I was straight failing a class in college. I wasn't passing that class at all. I'm telling y'all, I talked my way into a passing grade. Oh, no, I don't think y'all understand. I wasn't even close to a D. It wasn't like a 62 and it was a 65. I wasn't even close. I wasn't getting nothing in this math class. I literally talked my way into a passing grade. Okay, I think some of y'all think I'm lying. I'm talking about, I went to the professor, I said, look, and this was pretty damn bold, I gotta say, this probably was one of my best work. It was. I said, Doc, look. I said, I can make 150 on your final. I still ain't gonna pass this class. I said, listen, I went to all of your study sessions. I went to all of your classes, missed one. I said, I had a Black Journalist National Board meeting. I said, I'm the only one on the board, only student on the board. I went through this whole deal. I said, now let me ask you. I said, you love math, right? He said, yes. I said, that probably means you hate to write. He goes, what do you mean? I said, left brain, right brain. You're good at math. You probably hate creative stuff. But you like creative stuff, you're probably not good at math. I said, here's the deal. I got job offers right now, and I did. I said, I'm only here to get a sheet of paper. I said, I'm gonna be a journalist. I said, now, I have 130 credit hours. I need 6 hours in math or philosophy. So, I'm not taking another math class. So here's the deal. I just need you to put down a D. It's real simple. It's 3 hours. Next semester, I'm taking a philosophy class. I said, let me be clear. I don't need Pythagoras' theorem. I know how to count. I know how to negotiate. I know how to make money. None of this stuff is really relevant to what I'm trying to do. I said, so all I need you to do is to simply put that down. We good. Y'all think I'm telling? My man, he looked at me. Okay, Mr. Martin. I was like, all right, Doc, appreciate that. Now, I wasn't sure that was going to happen. So when I got home, I was like, Mom, listen. I said, that sheet of paper come in, it might be a problem with one of the classes. I'm just letting you know in advance. Man, the report card came in, I saw D, I was like, yes. Next semester, I'm walking across campus, I see homeboy, I'm like, Doc! Turns around, I'm like, appreciate that. Kept going. Now, why did he do that? It wasn't just because I had a smooth story. I went to every class. I went to every study session. I asked questions. I tried to find answers. Too many of us fail because we don't show up. We don't ask questions. We're not visible. I wasn't a face of 100 people in the class. Now, granted, it's Texas A&M, so it wasn't that many black people. But still, he saw me trying to make it happen. And so if we begin to understand that if I show the initiative, if I'm trying my best that I can, if I'm pushing, people are going, I'm going to credit you for the effort for what you're doing. And if you're not doing it right, we can show you how to do it. But at least I'm seeing you make an attempt to actually make it happen. And there are so many people in this world who literally have gotten opportunities, who are now CEOs, who are now major executives, because they were showing somebody that I was paying attention, that I was asking questions, that I was making an attempt, and they then said, I'm going to work with you, I'm going to go with you, and then begin to help you along. But I can guarantee you, the brother who never distinguishes himself, who doesn't show up, who doesn't ask questions, you are literally an invisible person in this world. And if there's one thing I want to see every brother and sister in this room, is to have a level of confidence that you belong in every room you walk into. I want you to have a state of mind that no matter what the room is, if this room is all white, your state of mind is, I belong in this room. That no matter where you go, no matter where you walk outside of this door, when you walk into that room, you actually say, I belong here. I never understand some black folks when I hear imposter syndrome. That confuses me, because I'm like, you are an imposter of what? See, I can't roll with the imposter syndrome deal, not when black folks have gone through so much hell to even be where we are today. We're not an imposter of anything. What we need to understand is, as a generation of people, multiple generations, that put us in the position that we're in now, our job is to take advantage of it. There are some mothers who are hoping and praying that when you come back from this conference, you are different than when you arrived. There are some fathers who are saying the exact same thing. And so what I want you to do is to completely change how you walk, how you talk. And when you meet someone, you understand that the person who you're meeting could very well be someone that either directly or indirectly, they may know someone that could change the future course that you're on. But you got to be willing to show them something. You got to be willing to put something in their eye. See, the mistake that people make, they say, I want you to be my mentor. I'm like, I don't know you. See, let me explain to you the mentor model. It's actually a biblical model. Elijah, Elisha. It's a biblical model. The mentor chooses the mentee, because the mentor has to see something in the mentee to want to then invest into them. It's not the reverse. You as the mentee don't get to pick your mentor. So if I don't know you and I haven't seen you do anything, why would I invest my time and energy into you when you've shown me nothing? Last point I'm going to make is this here, and that is this. And I've seen this so many times. Man, this ain't nothing but a small little thing. Or, I'm not the boss, why do I have to do this? I was working at Wendy's in college. Guy comes in, orders a meal, I fix it, run it, done. So about 5 minutes later, I come back from the back, he's standing there with the manager. And the burger is laid out on the counter. I'm like, the hell is wrong with them? I know I fixed the right meal. So he asked me to come over, and he says, the mayonnaise and the ketchup and the mustard was applied evenly. Okay. He goes, it's a good piece of lettuce, a good piece of tomato. Meat was cooked well. So he's going through the whole deal. I said, man, what's your point? He goes, are you a manager? I said, no. He said, are you an assistant manager? He said, no. He said, are you a crew chief? I said, no. Why are you asking all these questions? He said, and then he looked at me, he was confused. He was confused because my pants were pressed, my shirt was pressed, my apron was clean, my hat was clean. I fixed this meal the way it was supposed to be fixed. And he was trying to figure out, what did I do? I said, I work here. Didn't y'all tell us how to make the meal on the video? That's how I made the meal. I'm trying to understand what's going on here. He instantly says, you can work at my store anytime. He said, I am the regional manager for Wendy's. I'm over 60 plus Wendy's. In that instance, he figured out, wait, hold up. He did this right. He's how he looks, and he don't even have a title. What he saw was work ethic. And I said, no, I'm good. Where your store is too far out, I'm good right here. The question, it wasn't that I turned down the opportunity, but the key is, I didn't act like this was no big deal. Oh, this ain't nothing. And then I had some other people like, man, why are you taking all this stuff serious? I said, are you not getting a check for this? Well, fix the damn big burger like it's supposed to be made. And also, when I go buy a burger, I want somebody behind that counter like me fixing my food the same way. Homeboy was like, him different. Yes, I was. I was. I was absolutely different, like all the other workers there, because they were treating the Wendy's job like it was nothing, where my whole deal was, no, this check is helping me get through college. I treated the Wendy's job the same way I did my grandmother's catering business, which I started when I was 7. I treated the Wendy's job the same way I did my first job with the newspaper and the working in television. What I'm trying to get you to understand is, even when I was working at Wendy's, I gave a damn about how I looked, how I presented myself, and how I worked. Because I never knew who was walking through that door. And every single one of you leaving here needs to understand, you are going to go through this life, and you're going to be walking through an airport. You could be walking across campus. You may be sitting here going across the yard. You never know who you are going to encounter, and you would want to make sure that when you encounter somebody, they are getting the best of you at that very moment. And it might mean you turning a switch on and off to be able to get them to understand that, because, baby, somebody is always paying attention. I always loved when we had our alpha interviews when cats who wanted to pledge. And we had one brother who came in, had his suit. He was talking a certain way, and he was saying all the right things. And my blood brother, who's also my alpha brother, he said, "Do you recall playing basketball in the gym 3 years ago?" And the brother like, "Well, what do you mean?" He says, "Well, we were all playing 5-on-5. He said, "And you began to talk trash. And you began to curse out several other players." And the dude, he was sitting there, and you can tell he was like, "Oh, shit." He was trying to figure it out. He said, "I was one of the two you were cussing out." And then my brother recounted something from the year earlier. And now my man is sitting there sweating. Now he's sitting there sweating. And so he said, "Let me help you out." He said, "Well, you and other brothers don't realize the moment y'all stepped foot on this campus, we were watching." He said, "We were watching." He said, "When you acted a certain way with this young lady at a party, we saw it. We started running down all the incidents." When I say he was like a deer in the headlights, he didn't understand that you were not walking through this world just doing your own thing. Somebody was paying attention. And I want every single one of you to understand that from this day forward, no matter what you do, I can guarantee you somebody is paying attention. And how you behave, and how you act, and how you present yourself could determine if you go left or go right, could determine whether somebody gives you a recommendation or not, could determine whether somebody chooses to offer you up for a job or not, could determine whether they offer you a promotion or not, or determine whether or not they choose to be a business partner with you or not. When I said, look around this room, I mean it. You don't know where the next brother sitting next to you is headed. A future CEO is sitting in this room. A future college president is sitting in this room. A future organizational leader is sitting in this room. And you better hope that that person remembers the impression that you made on this day at this conference, because that could be the difference between you getting the opportunity and somebody else. It all is up to you to determine the impression that you want to give. You have to make that decision. Thanks so much.